The idea came to me while I was watching a video about home security. Some ex-burglar was explaining the easiest ways people get into apartments, and one of the first things he mentioned was spare keys. People think they're being clever, he said, shaking his head, but burglars know exactly where to look under the mat, inside a fake rock on top of the door frame. It's the first thing we check. I glanced at my own doormat and felt a weird itch of curiosity. How many people had lifted it hoping to find a key? That's when I got the idea. I found an old key that didn't open anything, a useless spare from a lock I didn't even own anymore, and placed it under my mat just to see if anyone would take the bait. For over a week, nothing happened. Then today, I got home, lifted the mat out of habit, and felt my stomach drop. The key was gone. I didn't tell anyone about it. No one was supposed to know, but someone had checked and someone had taken it. I stood there for a long time staring at the empty spot under the mat, my mind racing. The first possibility that crossed my mind was maintenance. They had spare keys anyway, but maybe they thought I was being careless and took it, or maybe it was a neighbor. Someone saw it and thought it was funny. But if that was the case, wouldn't they have mentioned it? Wouldn't they have put it back? A sick feeling curled in my gut as a third possibility formed. What if someone thought it was real? What if they took it thinking they could use it later? I turned around, scanning the hallway. It was empty, normal, but suddenly it didn't feel that way. I pulled out my actual key, unlocked my door, and stepped inside, quickly shutting and locking it behind me. I walked through my apartment, checking every window, every closet. Nothing was out of place. There were no indications that anybody had entered. But that didn't mean they hadn't planned to. When my phone buzzed, I thought it would be a business email or a group chat. But when I looked at the screen, my breath froze in my throat. I sat down on the sofa and tried to regulate my breathing. This had to be a coincidence. My palms felt clammy as I glanced at the message. Nice trick. A lump appeared in my stomach. Unknown number. Did you think I wouldn't notice? I felt dizzy. My fingers lingered over the screen. My heart was thumping in my ears. I had laid a trap and someone had taken the bait. I gulped hard, my mind racing, and I didn't recognize the number. It wasn't stored in my contacts. What a wonderful trick. Did you think I wouldn't notice? Just those words, hanging in my inbox like a threat, without a name or profile picture. I tried to come up with a reasonable explanation. Perhaps it was a practical joke, or perhaps a friend had discovered the key and was playing a practical joke on me. But how would they know I hadn't told anyone? Besides, this didn't feel like a joke, so I made myself respond. Who is this? The typing bubble appeared instantly, then vanished, and I waited, my heart racing every second that seemed to go by forever, before receiving another message. I got up from the couch and went straight to my door to check the peephole. The hallway was empty, so I threw the deadbolt, secured the chain, and then went to check my windows locked. The logical part of me kept saying, this is just some __ messing with you. But the deeper part of me was drowning under the weight of something worse, because if they had found the fake key, it meant they had lifted my mat, which meant they had stood at my door. I tried shaking it off, but curiosity can be dangerous. I called the cops as my fingers were hovering over the keyboard. I nearly did, but what if someone stole a key that didn't open anything? Someone sent me a spooky text, telling me to block the number and move on. Perhaps I should have, but instead I did something dumb and texted back, "What do you want?" I regretted sending it, and the response came almost instantly, "Unknown number." I wanted to see what you did next, so I got up so quickly that my chair scraped the floor, and I wasn't going to sit here waiting. Before I could call, my phone vibrated once again, so I looked through it and discovered my buddy Matt's contact information. A picture of my stomach. My front door was twisted as I tapped to open it. It was taken from just down the hallway from a low angle, as if someone had squatted down to take it. I felt like I was going to throw up, so I ran back to the peephole, which was still empty. But I knew better now. They had been watching and waiting, and they wanted me to know it. I backed away from the door, my pulse pounding in my ears. Whoever it was, they had been at my door, taken the fake key, had my number, and were now watching me. I forced myself to take a slow, shaky breath. I scrolled to Matt's contact again, my hands shaking, and just as I pressed the call button, another text came in, an unknown number asking for help. I almost dropped my phone, but this wasn't possible. I turned toward the nearest window and pulled the blinds open. The street below appeared normal, with a few cars parked along the curb, and no one standing around, but they weren't there. Before Matt answered, the phone rang twice. "Hey man, what's up?" I swallowed hard. "Someone is playing tricks on me," he said. I spilled out the fake key, the texts, and the picture from my hallway. He was silent for a while. "Are you at home? Are your doors locked?" I checked the peephole again, but nothing. "What should I do?" "You need to leave," Matt said. "Come to my place right now." He was correct, but the thought of opening my door made my stomach turn. I couldn't get rid of the feeling that I wouldn't be alone the moment I stepped outside, so I made myself get up and got my phone, keys, jacket, and anything else I might need. I stood at the door and listened to the silence. I took a deep breath, slid the chain off, and unlocked the deadbolt. The second I turned the knob, my phone buzzed again. I glanced down at the screen. Unknown number. "See you soon." Every hair on my body stood on end. No, I wasn't doing this. I wasn't going outside. Instead, I relocked the door, backed away, and called the police. This time I wasn't second-guessing. The cops arrived within 15 minutes. I stayed on the phone with the dispatcher the entire time, keeping my voice low, my ears tuned to every sound outside my door. When I finally heard the knock, a real knock followed. By police, I nearly collapsed from relief. I opened the door to two uniformed officers, both of them scanning the hallway. "Are you the one who called?" one of them asked. I nodded, gripping my phone so tightly my fingers ached. "Yes, someone's been watching me, sending me messages. They were out here, right here." They asked for details. I told them everything. One of the officers took my phone, scrolling through the texts. His expression darkened. "And you have no idea who this could be?" "No clue," I said. "I don't recognize the number, and I never told anyone about the key." The other officer walked down the hallway, checking around. "No cameras in the building." I shook my head. "Just in the lobby." "Nothing up here." The first officer handed me back my phone. "You should file a report, and you need to be careful." I exhaled slowly. "So that's it. There's nothing you can do." "We'll run the number, but if it's a burner, it won't lead anywhere." He admitted. "Do you have somewhere else you can stay for the night?" I nodded. "Yeah, my friend's place." "Good," he said. "Pack a bag and go now, and if you get any more messages, call us immediately." I did exactly what they said. I packed the bag and left. My breathing wasn't correct until I got inside my vehicle and locked the doors. As soon as I drove away from the curb, I looked in my rearview mirror and saw a dark figure standing at the far end of the street. I wanted to think it was a coincidence, but I knew better. Hood pulled up, standing too still, observing my vehicle, leaving my hands locked around the wheel, my heart slamming in my chest. After staying at Matt's for a few nights, I stopped receiving messages, changed my number, and did everything I could to blend in with whoever was watching me. For a while, it worked, but last week, I stopped by my old building to pick up some mail that had been sent to my old address, and as I was leaving, I noticed something Someone new had moved into my old place, and they had a brand new, clean mat in front of their door, and right underneath the corner of it was a key. I stared at it for a long time, my chest tight. Was it real, or was it just a test? Sometimes when I go along silent halls, I still feel the weight of invisible eyes watching, waiting, and knowing more than they should. I have no idea who put the bogus key under my mat that day, who stole it, or even whether they ever left.